But, Joe, before we go into free agency and everything else, we got a great guest coming on next. And this is, I was a huge fan of his when the Jets traded for him. And it's Thomas Jones. Thomas, this is Joe and Tyson. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Dude, this is so awesome, man. We really appreciate you coming on. We are huge fans of yours, and we really appreciate this opportunity.
No, thank you for having me on. Anytime I can talk to some guys about Jet football, man, I'm always down. And I love guys. You guys have so much energy, man. That's why I love the Jets fans so much. Just because the Jets fans are diehard fans, man. I had an incredible experience in New York. Some of my best moments of my football career and some of the best moments of my life were in New York. So I'm always down to talk to Jets about Jets football.
Well, Thomas, before we even go into that, how's life after football treating you, man? It seems like you're making moves over there.
Yeah, I'm staying busy. I retired in after the 2011 season. It was a little bit awkward just because I played football from the time I was 8 years old until that time when I was 33. So I didn't really have. I had other things going on, but I didn't have anything I really was passionate about. So it took me a little bit to kind of find my way through post-football and figure out how to, spend my days. I'm used to being at practice. I'm used to being in the training room, watching film. And now I have kind of, this idle time to try to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Fortunately, I was a part of this project, this film project that I was producing, and I had a little minor role on. And I liked the acting role that I had on it, and I pursued it. And now, what is that? 2011 is 2018. 6 years later, now I'm a working actor in L.A., produce my own projects and acting. So things are going well right now. Going really well.
Yes, Thomas, my name is Joe, and I want to welcome you to the show. I just want to take the time to say you are an amazing back. I loved watching you run the rock. You were really a fan favorite for me, and I just loved everything you did out there. And you were not just a great runner, but you were also a solid blocking back as well. I just loved watching you do some of the things that you did there in the backfield. But I heard you talk a little bit about, some of the idle time that you had, and it's great that you're producing films. But have you ever thought of becoming a coach? Because I know a lot of players sometimes get that itch, and they just want to be back out there on the field, at some way at all. And they usually find that way to be out there yelling at guys and motivating them. So have you ever thought about becoming a running backs coach?
Well, you know what, man, first of all, I truly appreciate the kind words and the compliments, man. I think I was the kind of player that I did the little things, and sometimes those things go unnoticed, unfortunately, whether it's pass protection, being in the right place, being consistent. I think those are the things that make you a pro, and those are the things that I took pride in. And for you to acknowledge those things, man, means a lot to me. So I truly appreciate the compliments. Second of all, when it comes to football, what's so crazy is I haven't been to a football game or even picked up a football to throw around since my last game, January 1st, 2012. I was one of those players that I really just dedicated myself to the game, and I gave everything I had, and I was emotionally attached to the game. And when I retired, it was painful as well as kind of traumatic. Because, when you play 12 years in the NFL, at some point it's not about, the money anymore. It's not about, obviously it's about the winning, but it becomes personal now. It becomes more about the personal battles, the one-on-one battles on the field. It becomes about the actual strategy of the game. And it's kind of like this rabbit hole you go deeper and deeper into. And that's why you see a lot of guys, at the end of their careers, whether it's Brett Favre or Brady, or a lot of these guys, they retired and they come back. They retire and they come back because it's kind of like now you're in a relationship psychologically with the game. So, when I retired, I just left it completely alone because I think I'm so attached to it and I love the game so much that being a part of it and not being able to play, I think that would kind of hurt more. So I haven't really even thought about coaching or thought about it. And I've been out of the game now for 6 years, and I don't watch football as much, to be honest. I'm an actor, producer. I'm doing a lot of different things in Hollywood. But around playoff time, I kind of get jitters, and I kind of get this weird energy of wanting to play again or wanting to be out there. And then after the Super Bowl, it goes away. So It's weird to a lot of people, but I have no intentions of going back and playing football. I don't even know when the next football game I'll go to is, but that's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I definitely hear you there, and I understand. I've heard a lot of pros say the exact same thing, and I hear you. A lot of pros do go back and forth. They come back. It's because they love the game so much, and then they leave, and then they come back, and it's definitely, hard for them to just walk away because they love the game so much and they've been playing it for so long. And I know that you said, you try to back away and stay away, but you also said you like to, around playoff time, you like to watch a little NFL football. But do you ever watch the Jets at all throughout the season, or do you just leave it all away and just playoffs and that's it?
Well, I don't really watch the games. To be perfectly honest, I haven't watched the Super Bowl since we lost the Super Bowl when I was with the Bears in 06, 07. We lost to the Colts. I have not watched the Super Bowl since then. It's like a painful reminder. So I haven't even watched the Super Bowl. Usually when the Super Bowl's on, I'm in the gym, maybe shooting baskets or and it's pretty empty in there. So it's usually me by myself. Or, I'll get a workout in and try to work out through the whole thing until it's all over. Because, like I said, it's a painful reminder of something that you didn't accomplish. But the playoff jitters, I think, comes from just the energy of the playoffs. It's all around you, no matter where you go. I live in L.A. mostly now, and so you'll see people with their team jerseys on, and you go in any restaurant or any place with a TV, the games are on, and everyone's cheering. So I think that's the energy that I'm in. It's like, I know what that feels like to be out there. I know what it feels like to be in that caliber of a game, and that's what makes you kind of feel like, wow, I miss the rush of that. I miss the adrenaline rush of being out there. But no, like I said, I don't really think about going back or I don't really watch football. I watch college more than the pros. I'll sit and actually watch about 2 quarters of a college game. I love college football. I think it's just exciting. You have the band, you have the team colors, you have all the traditions and things like that. So I think it's really cool. But no, I'm not going back to football anytime soon. But yeah.
Once again, we're talking to Thomas Jones, who's very kind to give us a few minutes. And Thomas, it's interesting your take on this because Curtis Martin is actually the same way. When Curtis Martin stepped away from the game, he was like, I'm done. Like, I devoted my life, and that's kind of it. And he had the kind of the same comments you have, which is just really interesting to hear. And another thing you have in common with Curtis Martin is, as a veteran player, what was it like being traded to the New York Jets, man? Like, were you surprised? Is it something you wanted? Like, how did that all go down?
Oh, well, it was kind of a bittersweet thing. I was in Chicago. I kind of bounced around early in my career, and finally found a home in Chicago and a place where I was needed and appreciated, and my work ethic was and play was appreciated. So, of course, when you find a place like that you can call home, you don't want to leave. But that's the business of the NFL as well. They make draft pick decisions that might interfere with your stay. That's what happened with me. They drafted Cedric Benson, and he was the 4th pick in the draft, so they gave him a lot of money. So from a business perspective, they had to give him an opportunity to play, and I wanted an opportunity to play because I deserved it and because I was playing well, and so it just didn't work. Out of all of that, what was so weird is that we ended up going to the playoffs in 2005 and having a bye week, and then the next year we go to the Super Bowl despite all this chaos that was going on in the backfield. So, I wanted to stay in Chicago. I wanted to be with my guys. I was there with Brian Urlacher and Mike Brown and, all these guys that we had built this family with. And after the Super Bowl, I had talked to Jerry Angelo, the general manager, the year before, because they were going to trade me actually to the Colts, which would have been crazy because I would have been playing against the Bears in the Super Bowl with the Colts. But the trade didn't go down, and so I played that last year and played through the whole season. And they knew at the beginning of the season, something had to be done. I said, listen, at the end of the season, let's restructure my contract. Let's make me a Bear, or we're going to have to figure something else out because, I'm a running back. I have a short shelf life, and I'm playing really well for you guys, and I'm a team leader and I'm one of the captains of the team. So I think, you guys, I deserve that much. And so they agreed. So at the end of the season, after 1,200 yards and 100 yards in the Super Bowl, we kind of came to a standstill, and it's like, can you restructure my contract and keep me here? Because I don't want to leave. I want to be here. And they didn't want to do that because they already had Cedric there. So, yeah, when the trade went down, I wasn't shocked. I was actually in New York City. I was up there for a fashion show, and when I got the call from Drew Rosenhaus, and he says, "Hey, where are you?" I said, "Well, I'm in New York." He said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you need to get to Long Island because the Jets just traded for you." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, the Jets just traded for you." So I was like, it was bittersweet because I was like, "Wow, I'm leaving Chicago. I'm leaving my teammates. I'm leaving the fans of Chicago. We just went to the Super Bowl. I'm leaving something that I was a part of, something special." But then on the flip side, I was like, "Wow, I'm going to the New York Jets. I'm from Virginia. All my friends are in Virginia and in New York. It's on the East Coast where I'm from. I love New York. I love New York hip hop. I love everything about New York. So it's this real bittersweet feeling." And then I jumped in the car and we went up to Long Island, me and my publicist. And the first person I met was Curtis Martin. That met me at the facility, and it was pretty incredible, man. I had a meeting with Curtis, Tannenbaum, Mangini, and we sat there, and Curtis basically told me that he thought I would be a great person to come back and to follow in his footsteps. He was going to retire and to replace him, and me and Curtis are a lot alike. We're very similar, and it was just a surreal moment. It was like, wow, Curtis Martin, someone I watched and looked up to and played against, basically wants me to come and take his spot. And I took a lot of pride in that. And the next day, we worked out the contract details in Mike Tannenbaum's office, and about 4:00 the next day, I was a Jet. I got back to the hotel, and my mom and dad were in New York as well at the time, and I looked on TV, and it was all over the place. I've been traded. They were already selling my jersey online. It was a really, like I said, it was a bittersweet experience, man, because I didn't want to leave Chicago. But the fact that I got to come to New York was like a dream come true. Like there was no other team. And I told Drew if I could go somewhere, I would love to go to the Jets. I don't know what Curtis is going to do with his career, but if he doesn't come back, I'd love to go there. And it happened. So it was great.
Yeah, it was great. And the one thing was, you came here and let's be honest, man, you came in and you had like the short sleeve, the tank tops on. You just took over, man. Everybody saw how physical you were. And you became a fan favorite right off the bat, man. Fans loved you because of your tenacity, the way you played the game, just your leadership. What is it like being a fan favorite in New York?
It's surreal, man. Like I said, you're in New York City. This is New York. I'm from Virginia. I'm from a small town in Virginia. But in Virginia, we grow up, listening to, music from, a lot at the time. When I was a kid, a lot of the great artists were, we had great artists coming from Virginia, but there were a lot of great artists coming from New York. I mean, it's New York City, man. It's the birth of hip hop. It's just a mashup, melting pot of incredible people. And so, for me to be a fan favorite from the New York Jets fans, a storied franchise. It was similar to Chicago because I had the same experience in Chicago when I first signed with them in 2004. So it was similar to that. It was just kind of like this. It continued this whole surreal experience of like really living out a dream of being an NFL superstar in football towns. Chicago's a major football town. New York's a major football town. You walk in a restaurant, you get a standing ovation. You're walking down the street, you check in, and people love their football. So it was an incredible feeling. It was also motivation because, these people are cheering for me and they're rooting for me. And, and I want to make sure that they're rooting for the right person. So it was motivation for me as well on the field.
And watching you on the field, like I said earlier in the show when I first started talking to you, was an absolute pleasure. You were just a beast out there. And I want to know, what was the 2008 Pro Bowl season like when you played with Brett Favre?
It was incredible. We had a tough season my first year. We were 4-12, and it was a rebuilding year, and which was weird because they had gone to the playoffs the year before, I think. Yeah, the year we played the Jets at the Meadowlands the year before that when I was with the Bears. So it was was weird. I don't know. I mean, the 2007 season was very tough. It was one of the hardest seasons I've ever played, but it was also one of the best seasons I've ever played because through it all, I think I accomplished and achieved more in that season than I did in any other season. And I say that because we were very young. We had a very young offensive line. You know, we were going through quarterbacks, and, you know, we had a lot of injuries, and we were 4-12. And I think I only had maybe 2 touchdowns that year, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. But I was able to find a way to get 1,100 yards. And most of the time it would just me and Leon because they got rid of all the fullbacks. So we'd be in running back meeting rooms, and it would just be me and Leon. During pregame warm-ups, it would just be me and Leon. So I couldn't get hurt. I couldn't come out of the game. Me and Leon, he came in on third downs and things of that nature and gave me a spell here or there. But, you know, I had about 336 carries. And so that year was a tough year. So going to the 2008 year with when Favre came in the preseason and all the hype, he brought all the hype with him, then it was kind of like, wow, you know, it was I felt well deserved because of everything we had gone through in 2007. And now we had the media on us. We had a lot of media attention. And there was a lot of excitement building around it. And then we started winning, and we won 7 or 8 games in a row or something like that. 5 games, I don't know, I can't remember exactly. But I know we went on a nice little winning streak, and things were looking well. And then I was playing some of the best football I've played. It was, you know, statistically my best season. It just felt I just felt like I was finally in pocket. I felt like I had everything around me. I had a quarterback that could actually stretch the field because I had never really had a quarterback that could actually stretch the field where I would have maybe sometimes 7 guys in the box. I was usually playing with 8, 9 guys in the box for most of my teams. I mean, from college to high school, you know, I always expected to have to make a guy miss or run a guy over. But now I finally had a guy that, you know, defenses had to really, truly respect. And that left me one less guy that I had to make miss or run over. So, you know, I felt a different type of feeling. I don't know, as a running back, it's like, wow, I have a little breathing room. But it was incredible, man. It was an incredible season. We won a nice run. I mean, obviously we didn't make the playoffs, but it was rewarding, man, to be able to fly my family and friends over to Hawaii and be in the Pro Bowl finally after all that time and reflect on the season. So it was a great year.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you a tough question. I don't mean for it to hurt. I know this might dig up a bad feeling, but at any point during that 2008 season, did you feel like the team was heading to the Super Bowl?
Man, I thought we beat Tennessee at Tennessee. I remember feeling in the locker room. We were undefeated, I think. And we went to Tennessee, the Titans, and we won. And we were in the locker room. We were just like, I mean, yeah, we were like, man, we're the best team in the league. We had such a swag, man. Like, as a team, we had such a swag, and we were well coached. You know, Eric Mangini, the coaching staff, we were well coached. But we also had our own personalities, man, and we were unique. And guys were starting to come into their own. You know, Revis, because a lot of the young players were starting to step up and make plays, and the older veterans, you know, we were leading by example. It was a really, really special team. And then we kind of, you know, fell apart towards the end, and then couldn't get into the playoffs, which was like, I don't know. We just didn't have the answers, man. Like what Kanye say that this way you don't got the answers. We didn't have the answers, man. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the answers, man. At the end of the season, you know, and it was like week in, week out. It was like we had to win like 1 out of 4 games or something like that. I'm like, what is going on, man? Like what happened? And sometimes that's what happens in the NFL. It's such a long season. Sometimes teams peak too early, and then, you know, towards the end, you know, it's like in track, you know, if you take off too fast, you know, I mean, you might not have the gas left in the last 100 and you get beat. And I think that might have been what happened to us, unfortunately. But of course, I thought we were going to the Super Bowl. Of course, definitely.
Yeah. And you talked about the personalities that were, you know, a part of the team in 2008. 2009, you had one of the biggest personalities step in that I think the Jets franchise has ever had in Rex Ryan. You played on that team. What was it like when you went on that magical run with Rex?
That was great. Rex, to be honest, I know there was a lot of things that went on with Rex in New York, especially after I left. But Rex was one of the best coaches I've ever had. I mean, I would actually play for Rex right now. There's maybe a couple of head coaches that I would play for right now. One would be John Gruden, who I played with in Tampa. I would play for Gruden right now, and Rex. Those are two coaches that I would play for right now. Rex was the true definition of a player's coach, and it was funny because that off season when Rex came to the Jets, I was in Miami training because I was going through a contract situation. I knew kind of from a business perspective that they were probably trying to get rid of me after 2009 because they owed me a lot of money, and the business of it is just sometimes screwed up. And as a businessman, you have to strategically put yourself in a position to get paid. And so I didn't come to the off-season program that season, so I didn't meet Rex when he first came. And then when I finally did, agree to come back, I think it was before minicamp, I met Rex, and we automatically hit it off. Automatically. He was a defensive-minded guy. He was a tough guy. He wanted to run the ball, which is obviously great for me as a running back. And I had played against the Ravens before and had success against the Ravens, and we had a mutual respect for each other. And we hit it off, man. We hit it off top. And going into camp, we felt free. We felt like we could truly be ourselves. Not saying we didn't feel like with Eric Mangini, because I loved Eric, man. Me and Eric had a really good relationship, too. I think my first year there in 2007, I think, it was a tough year all around because we weren't winning, but I think Eric learned a lot in that 2007 season, and then he came back the next season, and he was a better player's coach. And I think because he was a better player's coach, we had more success. Then in 2009, Rex came, and now it was all of a sudden the ultimate player's coach, and now guys felt like super free to be who they were as players and people, and then they felt more comfortable. So it was great playing for Rex, man. I truly enjoyed that season with Rex.